a couple new ventures, and so you know, frankly, it may make sense for me to hang my hat somewhere a little more advantageous for me, just in the but I haven't made a decision on that yet, and so and still doing deals with my partners where I'm at currently. So yeah, but it definitely you know exploring a few options that would
Have you
make
done
sense.
commercial leases
I've
or
done
mostly?
all. I've done commercial listings, leases, helped buyers, helped tenants, and then primarily I've been helping grow a portfolio. So I took a portfolio from a couple $1 million to over $100 million here in the last few years, acquiring commercial property. So warehouse buildings, office buildings, helped by the Mid Country Bank building down in Bloomington, um, and some retail, some apartments, doing some 721 exchanges, structuring deals a certain way, that makes sense for the end buyer, in our portfolio and our fund, and then help raise some capital for our fund.
You have I've brokered commercial loans because as a real estate brokerage, you can do them without the NMLS, which I got too. But I mean, it's the real estate broker license that does commercial loan brokering. So I funded Stars and Strikes up in Forest Lake. That was a $6 million loan one time. I don't know if you have any connections with that, but I don't make promises to people, to get them to join this company. But I about once a month have somebody asking for help. We got a different split on our commercial transactions. They're normally 90-10, and about 3% of it goes to the commit to the insurance.
Okay.
So, but sometimes I've tried to divvy up. I mean, I've been doing everything here myself for 2 decades, and you know, for somebody that actually could walk somebody through like a commercial lease, there's not a lot to. Well, if an agent needs help doing that, they don't get to keep 90% anyways, right? So if somebody was around that knew what they were doing, there's a little more money to, maybe say, look, maybe you should work with him because he can help you walk through this process and get the best deal for your client, and then
Yeah.
let's share the commission.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, and I think that's where it could be advantageous, right? And maybe on the flip side, I don't do residential, and I stay in my lane. So it would be a case, but I would love to learn how to do it. So maybe I would partner with someone on a few deals. I'd probably never do them on my own, frankly, but I would either partner or just I don't know how's it work in terms of like an internal referral fee or something like that, or maybe it's just I'm not one to always. I lead with generosity, so I'm not going to come in and say, "Hey, make demands." Right? I'm like, "Hey, I know you can help this person probably better than I can, so enjoy this lead and make the client happy."
Well, yeah, that's one nice thing about doing it in house here. So when the people can refer either residential or commercial stuff inside, they don't have another broker to split it with. So there's just
Mm.
more to share.
Yeah. So
Works
yeah,
out better.
yeah. Well, no,
Well,
good to meet you guys. I don't know if anyone else is hopping on for you. There's some people on, so I'll let you guys kind of chat.
yeah. Well, so today I told Jeremy, everybody who's on here, I can see there's 20 or so of us. So there's a woman that I think we had lined up that already spoken. So we decided, I said it's 75 degrees so everybody can open up their windows. Why don't we just call the huddle and enjoy our day, but have an open forum at least. So if anybody's on here that has questions that they want answered from their colleagues, they could chip in. I see something from Talia here about small business commercial lending that occasionally includes real estate. We'd love to expand. So, um, yeah, James does some uh, well, he's done pretty established, taking a portfolio up over $100 million. So he's got his hands into commercial real estate, and then he was looking at our brokerage. So I invited him to jump on the huddle. And then I know that I don't know if Tammy Wenz had a question for me 10 minutes ago, and uh, Jennifer Edwards did. So I said if they get on the huddle, maybe their colleagues could answer the question for them, or everybody could chip in because they're negotiating properties or something. So let's see. What we're doing here is we're just kind of having an open forum, and no presentation. So, I mean, I get on with my day as soon as anybody runs out of questions. But I at least wanted to host something so that you guys could collaborate. Hey, I guess I will point out, I don't think I can share my screen. If Jeremy's listening, he could probably share NRG 100's page again. You guys know we had this insurance lady on there, and we put links on our page to get a hold of them for home warranties. And the company, I've never seen anybody do this before, but if you have a buyer or a seller, apparently you can get a warranty for free for like 3 months. And then I think the buyer or the seller has to opt in or out after 3 months, but without having to pay for the cost of a warranty. The company's doing this promotion because they know that once they implement it, they have such a huge rate of people that don't cancel the warranty. And so they're selling warranties. And I'm like, well, if you guys are going to offer that, that's a value for our people, right? I don't just let everybody talk. We run out of material sometimes, so we let a loan officer on these things. It gets, and different people. But when this warranty company said your agents can have their sellers or buyers put on, Jeremy, scroll down to the warranty stuff. Put on a warranty at no cost up front. I mean, I'm like, well, that's the value, because you guys could position yourselves to use it as a unique selling proposition when you're closing a listing or working with a buyer. It's a USP that you could advertise. But these links we have on here to the brochures and our contact at the home warranty company. So I just point that out again since we're just on here not doing much. And then I guess since RPR is on there, you guys, when I started in the real estate in 97, I mean, we didn't have any tools. I mean, the people before me were talking about, I don't know if anybody's on this call, but digging through a 3-ring binder to look at the MLS because it wasn't online. So all these tools that developed, I put a link to our NRG 100 page because I use it as a roadmap where you can get to any of our resources. But I put RPR on here because when I started finding out you're paying for them with your National Association dues. And so the tools that are in there to not use, I mean, as an agent selling buyers and sellers, I think you're doing an underservice to yourself and anybody else by not engaging in the tools that they offer. And believe me, I know that there's so much, I don't want to call it BS and crap, but I mean, there's just so much coming at us. When you get your email in the realtor database, all of a sudden, boom, 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 your inbox is full, right? So everybody's got ice cubes to sell to Eskimos and all that stuff. So, you gotta be careful of what you purchase or what you engage in. But I mean, this is already paid for by your dues, and I'm spotlighting it because it's an actual value when you start to look at the tools available. So I'm going to look in our chat box.
Yeah, there's one question in there, Randy, from Linda May. Maybe Lindy.
This is a common question. So people don't understand this. And for half a decade, I basically said, if you want to fill out an alternative, fill out an alternative. But realtors cannot fill out alternatives. And the reason why is because there's a set of statutes in the state, and the statute allows for a seller to fill out an alternative if they fit the criteria, right? So then they don't have to fill out the whole disclosure form because they didn't live there or they rented it out. But the problem is they didn't extend the statute to cover the statute that says that realtors must disclose everything. So that's where we basically are required to disclose now. So if a realtor, like I was saying, just fill out the alternative if you want to. The problem is if an attorney pointed out the other statute to a judge, you wouldn't be off the hook because a realtor is required to disclose. So anybody with not a realtor, but anybody with a real estate license. So that's in your licensing statute. I don't think that, I don't completely agree with it 100% because a realtor is another person that might be selling, but I guess they're holding us to a higher standard and saying you must disclose. But sorry, I want to point out that even if you're required to disclose, right? Even if a seller is required to disclose, people overthink it. Like it says right on the disclosure that you're only legally required to disclose what you know about and can disclose. So if you don't have to go in depth of a property that you never lived in. If you don't know, you just don't know. You don't have to go figure it out. They're asking you what you know of, right? So it's not as daunting as you might think of a task to fill out that disclosure. Anybody can throw in a little follow-up question on that. But I was a little bit, okay, so now I understand why everybody was saying this, because half a decade ago, I was like, why don't you go tell that agent to point out why you're not supposed to, why you can't disclose or why you can't use the alternative? And then it would always come out to be nobody had an answer. So I had to dig it up for myself, because there's a lot of kind of hearsay, like somebody heard it, that realtors have to disclose. So I kept saying, well, prove it. And nobody could prove it. But after hearing it for so long, I had to call into the legal hotline myself. Who is talking?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, this is Lindy. The other half of that question is representation on a buyer side. If a buyer comes to me, I can't represent myself against them. I mean, so I have to give that buyer to somebody else, don't I?
No, that's not true.
So I could represent.
Disclose that you're an agent.
And so what kind of representation are they going into then? Facilitator?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a dual
buyer
agency,
rep,
really.
I can't really represent them. Agency, dual agency.
If you could get, yeah, dual agency for sure. But if you can get away with the facilitator and just say, all I'm doing is helping you write the PA, obviously I own the property. And then
is that legal? So I can facilitate. That's legal?
Yeah. And then you can write, well, remember you have to write, sellers of licensed agent.
Right. I know all that. Okay.
Yep. And then everything's disclosed, so.
And that wouldn't be like a differing representation, because I'm just facilitating, but they came to me on the MLS.
Yeah.
And I've written my own representation. I mean, I'm representing myself. So
on the agency representation form, they'll be able to read dual agency and see that you're playing both sides of the fence, right?
Yeah.
And then you're going to write on the purchase agreement that you're an agent. And then the best thing you could probably do is even then facilitate and just say, I'm helping you write the PA, because obviously, you can go find somebody else. They get to read everything on that disclosure representation, agency representation, so they get to pick. I mean, they can walk away and find somebody else, but after you disclose it, then you're safe.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So Nico, well, let me read this thing. I got these little highlight emoji things in a way I can't read your thing. Backing on that. As an agent, if you become aware of a material fact, I can't. It's hidden.
As an agent, if you become aware of a material fact on a waiver property, do you need to add an agent disclosure supplement?
Yeah, because an agent must disclose. I mean, you should. You can always call in and make sure that it's a material fact, but you're required to. I mean, you could get thrown in the lawsuit then if somebody has to prove you knew about it. It's not the easiest, but we just had somebody throw a court case at us. We got a couple going all the time, and as much as you think they're BS, as long as somebody files a legitimate court case, right? Case in court, then I mean, you got to respond legally, and that requires $5,000 of attorney fees, right? So if you disclose everything and not give anybody a reason to be able to sue, this court case that we paid our E&O company $5,000 wound up being about $180,000, just settled 2 months ago. I think what the attorneys do is they sit around and go, how much do we got to work with your deductible and all that stuff? And then they just sit around and file stuff to get paid for like 5 months or a year. So I just say, the value of your license nowadays and stuff like that is disclose something if you know about it. Always call me and we can double check with the legal hotline, but I mean, disclosing is better because once you disclose something, you're off the hook, right? You already told them about it. And if you wouldn't disclose it, then it's trying to be concealed or hidden, right? So when people always ask about disclosing, it's like, well, if you just tell them, you're done. You're for life. And then, so everybody knows this disclosure issues last for 2 years. So if anybody buys or sells a house, if it's after 2 years, they can't file arbitration. They can't go to court for disclosure issues. I mean, they can file something, but attorneys after a few $1,000s at $500 an hour, they'll get it thrown out, right? You just don't want to get in that position because these attorneys aren't cheap anymore. Let's see. Somebody else asked a question earlier. I think it was Talia, but maybe if there's opportunity to get mentorship. Hey, Talia, you're probably doing other stuff. I get it. But if you can hear me, you know, what mentorship? So are you talking about some commercial mentorship or loan mentorship? Just type in the chat box if you tune back in. You know, when we have presenters on here, I don't sit here and listen to everything everybody says. I get you guys 100%. So I don't know if I got any emails from the board. Let's see. Somebody should ask for Jennifer Edwards to jump on, or Tammy Wenz, because they had questions a half hour ago. Let's see. Usually the SPAR sends me Tuesday huddle slides. So while you guys are thinking or deciding if anybody, okay, so Talia, I'll keep you on our list for commercial property. One of the things about mentoring somebody is, you know, it's definitely a lot easier when you have a client or a case to mentor, right? I have all sorts of, I don't know if Jeremy can dig in Dropbox and find our top dog folder, but I bought this commercial trading thing, and we've had a handful of agents get into it and go through it. It's like a half a year thing where it teaches you from the ground up how to go through industrial and retail and different types of commercial properties and start studying what their values are. And you know, the cool thing about commercial stuff is our board of realtors finally, over half a decade ago, within a decade, started adding commercial forms. Prior to that, we had to use attorneys. So I went from 80% on our commercial stuff to 90 because we got the state backing us up on legal forms now. And it makes it a little easier for everybody because there's kind of some guidance. Before we had to deal with, you know, our knowledge of commercial and figure it out. So, oh, I do got broker slides. I'll figure out how to share my screen here in a second, and I'll pop these up. But you know, if anybody has a case or a client, we can definitely team up on them so that you can learn how to work them. I guess if you want access to our tools for learning, it could be a long, you know, it could be a long road. But I definitely, so half the commercial stuff that comes in, probably we make an in-case basis type of a split that I do with somebody. Because if you never sold a bar and restaurant before, you know, I can help look at the profit and loss. I can do that, but we're not going to pay out 90%, right? But if you know how to write an offer on a fiveplex, that's simple stuff. And so when it gets a little more complex with businesses and things and just different type of properties, that's when we usually just decide, okay, how much do you want to refer it? Do you want to learn as we go and come up with a way to do it? There's a couple people in the company that have been proficient in like commercial leasing or buying warehouses and things like that. And we don't have a ton, but I try to refer stuff as much as I can so I can work on running the brokerage, right? But call me if you have something that you want help looking at. And then after you get mentored through a deal, like, you know, when we have a new agent come here for residential, we got a pretty lean program for our mentor program to get you to 100%. I mean, I don't know. There's something to be said about experience. You know, you learned a lot of stuff at the school. You know, when you got your license, the laws were there. I know everybody forgets and just passes the license. You know, dealing with inspectors and learning through your transactions is the best way to learn. And after a few of them, I mean, anybody can go open a door to a house. This isn't sales. It's, you know, kind of navigating your way through the legal paperwork that's provided for us and opening doors for your clients so they can make their own decision, right? And referring an inspector so that they can help them make sure the property is good for them. So it's not like, I don't know, real estate is not, I don't think, like a song and dance business, right? There's a lot of people that, right, they do a lot of advertising for sales and for listings and buyers, and they got to convert people over the internet and things like that. You know, that gets a little salesy, but ultimately working on, you know, selling real estate, I think it's kind of a fast learning curve, but there's a lot of stuff that you got to learn over time when you do your transactions.
Randy,
So,
I have a
yeah.
So when I came to NRG, I was with another broker and I knew a lot. But what if a new agent is coming in? Are there like training or mentoring somehow somebody can help them within NRG or?
Yeah, Kathy's probably got her grandkids, so I don't know if she's going to chime in, but she's been managing our mentor program. So
Okay.
she's got a list of 8 or 10 or 12 people that are willing to. Kathy, you want to just tell her what you got going on so I can?
For sure, yeah. And it might get noisy because I do have a 2- and 3-year-old here, but yeah, I can help you find someone. We have a list of about 10 people that are willing to mentor you. It's strictly up to you and them. And basically what you do is you work out a deal where maybe the first house that they help you, you know, with the whole sale and transaction, you might do like a 80-20 split with them, and then another one, and then maybe a 90-10. And by the time you feel comfortable, then you guys just kind of part ways and hopefully become friends and can, you know, call each other if you have questions. But just kind of, if you want to email me, I'll put my email in the chat box, and then you can email me and I can get someone lined up for you. Kind of depends on your demographic and, you know, where you're located in Minnesota. Okay. Or Wisconsin.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Randy?
You're on mute, sir.
Hang on, Vic. Sorry. So if you want to mentor, what we do is we kind of try to keep track of where you live, you know, so that we can try to tie up a buyer. You know, we try to tie up everybody so somebody's not mentoring somebody driving to Rochester, right? So if you're looking to be a mentor, that's kind of what we do to match people up. And then if you're looking for any mentorship, whether it's commercial or whatever area you want to engage in, just call in and we'll figure it out. And then Vicky, were you just telling me that I was muted?
No, I have a question.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you explain a little bit on the disclosure statement arbitration? I was told my sellers do not need to sign that and we should decline that because sellers don't sue buyers. Obviously, buyers can sue sellers. Is that correct?
That's kind of my theory. You know, who sues who, right? A buyer
Right.
sues the seller. So the problem is if the seller waives it, then they're going to be subject to have to pay an attorney. So the odds of a buyer suing are less, right? But if anybody agrees to arbitration, the cost of going through the legal process is going to be much less. I mean, there's certain laws still in this other chapter that people can get around, and so they can still go through the court system. But if arbitration covers something, it's $800. And if, you know, you hire an attorney, $800, they'll get you an hour and 45 minutes.
So would you recommend they decline it or have my sellers do sign it?
So I usually recommend that a seller says no, because the odds are that then they'll force the buyer to have to pay 10 grand to get to a courtroom. So, you know, so that'll decrease the odds of a buyer being able to pursue anything, right? Because they'll just go, well, if it's 10 grand, I got a broken pipe for 2 grand, I'll just fix it, right? After they talk, everybody throws their weight around until they actually get their attorney consultation and find out what it costs to go to court. Right? Okay. You guys are all in the middle of this stuff. Everybody huffs and puffs. But if your sellers definitely don't have the cash to defend themselves, then they should agree to arbitration.
Okay, got it. All right, thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome. Hey, Jeremy,
Sir.
what page is this? Go to page 2 with the barbecue. Or is this a new one?
This is a new one. Oh, barbecue.
Because
Okay.
July 21st is, what day is this? Oh, you
Oh,
guys,
yeah, today.
go back one page.
Yeah, hold on.
I'm not going to go to this. I got a full day. Just go up a page, second. But today at SPAR, I don't know who's a member of SPAR, if you remember Amar, we all pay our MLS through SPAR, but I'm looking at the broker slides, and Kathy and I went there last year, and actually a couple people are, yeah, there's Sherry, and so I look like, I'm like, who the hell's taking a picture of us now? But we went to the thing for hot dogs and hamburgers last week. That's today. If anybody is near the association, I think at 11 o'clock, they got a grill out there and they're handing out sodas and waters and Frisbees and just hanging out. I guess like I was saying back in in the 2000s, there just wasn't a lot in our MLS, but our MLS is so robust now. You used to have to get third-party companies to pay for things, like certain services are tracking people down, and now it's included in the MLS. So be careful if you ever get approached by third-party companies offering their services, because you can double check everything that's in our MLS. It's just grown so much, but used to never, pay attention to this stuff at all, just because it's just too much information. But sometimes it makes sense to network in the industry. So I don't know if there's any other slides in here that make sense to make sure everybody's aware of. Well, go to the next slide. I mean, there's Toastmaster meetings. If anybody wants to improve their speaking skills, I mean, maybe something like that would get somebody in a position to feel like doing home buyer classes or something like that. I don't know, to each their own, right? We don't have a big mantra. You have to do anything like that. It's y'all own your own business. So I just showing you some resources. What's the next page? See if there's any info. Yeah, scholarships. I don't know, what are those scholarships for people to get real estate licenses? I think I got this. Oh yeah, Saints night. I haven't done this for like 10 years or 5 years, but they do this. Looks like July 23rd. That's Thursday. Yeah, they got VIP stuff at the Saints field. I'm sure everybody's got kids and other stuff to do. So we're just pointing out what's in the broker slides that they send us. It's kind of the same thing every week. Take advantage of classes. Well, I mean, sometimes these guys have free classes. Everybody's got to do their MLS training, but usually they offer classes that are pretty much relevant to what's coming on the market. I've got this exercise thing I'm on and it's making, and it's shut it off. So yeah. Hey, I want to remind everybody, if you're listening, that, SPAR has their MLS support line. If anybody goes to northstarmls.com, they got a phone number on there, and they even monitor it on the nights and weekends, just not full time. But half the questions that come into our office, like MLS, is you're paying MLS too, and we're just a middleman. So just remember that you can call them directly for help or changing listing statuses, and I mean, that's their job, right? So basically most agents go to the broker and we're kind of the liaison, but that's all we are, is we're doing it for you because people don't know that they can call directly. So I just want to make sure everybody knows that they're there. Yeah. Well, that's the SPAR number, but that goes to their office during Monday through Friday. But they have MLS support line, and then they have MLS legal support line. So if the main line can't answer the question, like a lot of people ask about coming soon. Well, they wait for us to answer. They can ask the MLS directly. If it's Trisha or whoever's down there answering the phone, I mean, Sometimes you just get a faster answer going to the source, and you definitely have the opportunity to do that. Now I'm going to post this. I'm going to type the number for the MLS support in case anybody plugs it in their phone. It's not a bad thing to have. But then, yeah, there you go. So, but free CE courses, we're going to start doing some of our own here, and Kathy's probably got the first one set up around September. We wait till everybody goes back to school, then we can start getting together when the kids are back. But we got a series of a half a dozen courses that'll start. When we find out about other companies, we usually post them on our Facebook page because, where else do you post it, right? So if we find out Coldwell Bankers having one or Edina Realty, we'll let everybody know. But we get some seriously deep discounts with our agreement with the CE shop. So remember, Jeremy sends out I was going to tell him only send out discounts that are 40% or more, because we get 40 and 45 and 50. They're always offering 25 and 30, but I don't want to spam you guys with a bunch of emails that don't matter, right? But when they're 40% off, that's a pretty good deal. You get 15 hours of CE for $100 or something like that. So keep that in mind, because when you contact them with the discount code, they'll set you up with the courses you need. Can't tell you how many people at the end of renewal time think that they have their hours, but they're missing like the 25, 26 module or some ethics thing or something like that. And then their license didn't renew. But our Facebook page would be a place, because we don't want to blast email every time we find something out. We try to blast email when we have relevant information to pass along. But Jeremy, actually, he gets the codes in advance at the beginning of the month. We could probably start posting the days that the 40% and up are going to be available, and then the days that they're available, we'll post them again. So make sure you're on our Facebook and our G Agent Connect page. If you need an invite, Jeremy will send you. I haven't looked to see if you're on it.
Yeah.
I don't know what else
Randy,
to tell you guys.
I have a question.
Okay.
Concerning commercial real estate, if I'm a residential Minnesota licensed realtor, if one of my clients or I see something in like Iowa and it's a commercial apartment building or something, are we allowed commercial to anywhere sell,
No.
or do we have to be licensed in that state?
You gotta be licensed. So
I
you're
mean, to
licensed in
buy, not
Minnesota.
sell, but to buy. If I
Yeah. It's the same as residential. So you can line them up with somebody and get a referral fee. And then negotiate a referral fee. Right? Say, I'm going to spearhead this thing. I just need you to help with the PA. Right? Maybe you can get 60%. Otherwise, referrals from state to state are usually 25%. But like, I just referred a thing in Iowa, and I'm like, I want 30. They're teed up. You don't have to go sell them. This isn't, it's all negotiable, right? So look at how much you're getting paid, and maybe you could get 50% and just say, we already have the building. I just need you to write it up. If you don't want to do it, I'll find another agent. But yeah, you can't write it in another state.
All right, thanks.
And yeah, I don't know. If anybody wants to get an Iowa broker license, I had it before. I have to go read what I have to do again. But we got Ryan Moe got his North Dakota. Jeremy knows.
North Dakota.
Yeah. And then, we got Florida, not really much in Florida because our broker had the storm, but Tennessee, we've got an office, and, we could expand in states. I just need somebody else kind of want to do some of the legwork. Like if somebody wanted to be the broker there, if we ever had an in-house referral, we make sure that you get a portion, We'd probably get rid of the 90 or the regular program and tell them, you're not licensed there, but we are. I mean, if you were the broker in that state and anything came along, you could probably demand at least half the commission. Well, you don't want to drive down there, right? But like Dawn, if you're talking about somebody knows the building they want, I mean, all you have to do is be licensed to write the paperwork. Maybe drive down for an inspection. Obviously, you don't want to go to Mason City and show a dozen homes, but you know what I mean?
Hey, Randy, do we have a broker in Florida?
Well, Right now we don't.
Oh,
I had to
okay.
let that guy kind of go because he just faded off after he got his house hit by a storm.
Okay.
Um, Somebody was doing this though. Jeremy might have a list or how soon are you looking to do something there? Because we can
Um,
set up shop there fast because we're already have been there.
oh, I don't know, maybe in a few months.
What for you when it gets cold here?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
we can
I,
try
I
to
was
figure
talking
something out.
I was talking to Amy Redence. You know, she's with a different agency down there.
Yeah,
So could could I do a referral through her and then she pays NRG a portion
yep.
of the
So any
referral? Okay.
referral to any agent in any other state, you
Okay.
can say I want 25% back, even if it was a different client, right? So then what you have to look for is the best thing you can do if you want more is find an agent that's at anything closer to a model like ours where the broker's not getting 30% of their commission, so they have more to give to you. I don't
Right.
know what her
Right.
scenario is. I don't remember what company she's at or what the split is.
She's with
But
EXP.
oh yeah, okay. So,
Yeah.
she got an 80/20 automatically. She's paying $90 a month. So,
Uh,
I mean, that'll work though. Yeah. If she's in
okay.
the area you're looking, right? Because I think they
Uh-huh.
have a dozen MLSs down there, or is it a dozen
Yeah,
associations?
they do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. If you want to track somebody down, well, if she's in the area you're looking, just because you know somebody doesn't mean it's the best fit, right? I mean, if they're 100 miles away from the area you're looking, that's not good. And I'll tell you what, on Facebook Connect right now, if you just ask, somebody might have a referral if you nail down the city you're looking at.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's some other ways to look for, what I usually used to do is I go online and I'll look at a couple profiles in the city that we're doing the referral, and then I'll read their profiles and see how many listings and buy sides they've had so that
Uh-huh.
I can, make sure that they're a seasoned agent. I think that's another way to go find somebody. You don't just want to, there's a network out there people can join that's like a referral network, and somebody tried to make money by setting up the credential of being in the referral network. But I just figure I'd look at the city I want to find and then try to find an experienced agent and then look at what company they're in and stuff. So,
Okay. Okay.
yeah. Well, I don't know.
I have do we have any commercial agents on right now? Because people ask me about commercial buildings and I have no experience. I would like to refer them to same broker.
What we can do is we can call Mincar and see if we have any agents paying for Mincar dues right now. If they know the building they're at, I can tell you. So a lot of times when people find a lot of times people look for commercial property. So if it's a buyer, if you go on LoopNet, you'll see things that are available. It seems like when people want a commercial property, sometimes they need the criteria, but a lot of times they know where they want to do business. Like right now, though, if I was looking for $1 million office building, I'd want the MLS so that I could see. But if I was looking for a storefront to do business out of, I'd probably know what street I want to be on, right? And so if that's the scenario that you're in, somebody probably drive up and down that street going, I want to own a taco store. And then they kind of see a space and they ask for your help negotiating the lease. So we can help you negotiate the lease. I know Amy Sue has done a handful of leases and warehouse stuff. We got a guy that was on earlier. If he's still on, he's considering joining that is only doing commercial. He hasn't joined yet, but I asked him to jump on the huddle because it's an open forum today. So I'm trying to get a list together of people that do that. But I'm positive that if you had a certain type of building or told me the scenario, I could match you up with somebody or I could do it. Now, I don't want to go out and show a bunch of buildings, but I can get involved. So that would be a scenario where we just figure out what's a fair split, right? You can do half the work and I can help you with the paperwork and stuff like that. Come out and check
Okay.
out the building when you hone something in.
All right,
So,
I'll double check. I know she was looking at a specific one, so I'll just make sure. I said I will find her an agent, so I wasn't.
oh, well, depending on what it is, I've sold restaurants, church, apartment building, office buildings, over the last 20 years. It's just, depending on the scenario and how much love and care the client needs, I'll probably
Mhm.
decide if it's something we can work on together or hand off to another person that can do commercial based on what they're looking for.
Okay.
I personally, I don't have a ton of experience with big commercial leases, but we got a guy here that does 40,000 square foot leases. I
Yeah.
mean, depending on what you have going on, just let me know and we'll figure out a solution.
Okay.
So,
Awesome.
yeah,
Thank
you can text me or email what you have, or you can tell us now because maybe somebody will raise their hand and say they'll help you.
Yeah,
Or just,
I'm not sure exactly what building she was looking for, but
okay,
once I find out, and then I'll contact you.
yeah,
So
Yeah,
what are some of
cool.
the what are some
What's
of the
that?
criteria to be licensed in another state or to be a broker in another state?
Well, yeah, if anybody's interested in that, you know what reciprocity is, right? So reciprocity means that a state will honor the credentials we have in Minnesota. Like North Dakota, we don't have to take any additional classes, but Wisconsin, we have to take 14 hours of additional hours to get the test there, our license there. I think Florida, I don't believe there's anything. You just have to have, fill out your application with an active license. Colorado, I think it's the same way. So there's a handful of states that accept your current education. And then there's a handful of states that'll make you pass something with minimal hours so that you can understand that state's law. Um,
What
I don't
about to
have the
be a
list.
broker, an NRG broker in another state?
Well, actually, I think the easiest way to go, because usually a broker can go be a broker. I don't know about a salesperson going to be a broker. So what I would say is, well, what I've done before is I've had somebody get their broker license here because if you've been licensed for 2 years, then you can pass the broker test in Minnesota. And then if you automatically have broker license, then you can just apply for broker license in the other state. And I think that's the easiest way to go. You can always call that state specifically and ask them what's required. You could say, okay, well, I'm a salesperson here. I have been for so many years. I just want to be a broker there. So maybe they make you apply for salesperson under a broker first, which doesn't make sense to me, right? And so that's why I'm saying if you get the broker license here first, be an associate broker, then go apply as a broker somewhere else, then we'll handle the state business side, and then you would just handle the credentials with the state being the broker, and then we'll attach it to our business licenses. Does that make sense?
Yes, so then there would be just the regular standard fee, like the NRG. There wouldn't be any additional split or just the split of the admin fee, or can
Well,
they
when
have
we
their
have
own
broker
admin
and
fee?
another's, yeah. So some of our teams here charge $8.95 admin fee, and we give them the difference. If I'm going to advertise as a company that the admin fee is $5.95 because that's kind of the normal, right? If there's California, we'd be charging $9.95, and then there'd be more to go around because our admin team can get our minimum to run the transaction. The broker there can have the difference. So what do we got going on in Tennessee? I think we keep $250. We split the admin fee, whatever it is, basically, right? So the broker can have something there. But the other thing, it depends on. So as the broker in that state, right? There's a lot of people that don't know what they're doing with certain transactions. So I don't keep it here. We assign somebody to a mentor. But if somebody hasn't done a few deals, they can't get 100%. Somebody's got to teach them how to close a house, right? So there's a lot of other opportunity there being the broker, right? Because I mean, even like Grace said, if she wants to buy there, she doesn't have her feet on the ground, or there's room for additional revenue, right? Outside of splitting the broker fee. But you could charge a higher admin fee in another area. We just have to be able to sell it to add people underneath you. You know, if it's not a marketable program, then we would have a hard time building it.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I guess something more to talk about if you're really going to go for it. But if you want to, even Tally asked about Texas here. I think Texas, I can't remember. I mean, somebody can Google what states have reciprocity with Minnesota real estate license, and I'll give you a list of, I think we only have half a dozen.
Is there higher fees for a broker than a regular agent through the MLS or anything?
Well, the state charges, you know how you got your renewal fee? Jeremy knows the rates, but I think it's $50 more every other year in Minnesota to be a broker. We've only got
Okay.
50 or 60 affiliate brokers here. You know, a lot of them wanted to think about a company and they're like, why would I? Because we got support and the admin fee and that's all they got to pay. So other ones just get it because like I did, you know, in 2000 and I don't remember, but I was just like, you know, you get your you got to do 30 hours of education, right? So it's like, well, why not? But yeah, you got to pay $50 more every renewal.
But that ain't that
It
bad.
just depends on what your plan is. Yeah. I think it kind of expands. I thought, you know, why limit myself to my opportunities? That's why I kind of used to tell people when they joined the company, I'm like, look, you have your business within a business. It's like an agency within State Farm, right? And so you have to have your own phone number. If you get your email address and always use at Edina Realty or at National Realty Guild as your primary email, you're kind of stuck. You can't make a change, right? I mean, 10 years ago, we had all these issues. 15 years ago, 20 years ago, like I can't move companies. Everybody knows my Edina Realty address. It's like, go get a Gmail or brand your own, you know, real estate at dennisberger.com. And then you have the ability to be a flexible, you know, business owner. But yeah, it costs you a little bit more. MLS is the same. The only other fee is that annual renewal, biannual renewal every other year.
So being a
And then-
part of NRG, there's like the insurance or something you said, so that you take care of that on the business side, right? For the people, a broker in another state to be a part of
Yep,
NRG?
we can easily add that to the policy. So it was just something we look at if we do it. Right now, our E&O covers the other states. Yeah. I got Brandon's our broker in Wisconsin. I used to be, or I might be, but I still tell everybody he is because I want him to take the questions. But we got yeah, Tennessee, that's under our E&O insurance. We have to structure the company the right way, but that'll be my job. And if somebody gets a broker license, we have the ability to start placing licenses there. I just don't want to do. I got an envelope sitting around here with stamps on it. I took like 8 college courses to open in California, and I was like, I don't have time for this. So if somebody, you know, has the motivation to do it, we can have. When somebody gets a license there, then they get their MLS access. So that's the broker's responsibility, but we can tap into the databases and stuff, and we can let everybody know what our plans are and see if they want to jump on board. There's just so much time in a day. So yeah. Well, I'm glad we had this open forum thing. I wish Tammy and Jennifer got on here because then I could wrap up theirs, but I'm going to have to call each of them. If you guys want to ask any questions amongst yourself, I don't have any more questions in the chat box. But is Brenda on here?
No.
No. She had some good questions over the last couple of weeks. And I think she went a little analytical on the purchase agreement, but I thought she could explain what she was doing. If anybody doesn't have anything else, I'm going to wish you have a good week so I can make a couple calls if you all want to stay on here and chat with each other. I think I got to sign off. I could do
Thanks
this all
again,
day,
Randy.
but yeah, you're welcome, Dennis. Hey, you guys, enjoy the weather. It's finally cooled off. I got my windows open. The air's off, at least for now.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks,
you're
Randy.
welcome. You're
Yeah,
welcome.
thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a good week.